Hello and welcome back to Triple Intimidate. My name is Hayes,
And I'm Pierre.
and today we have a very special guest for you guys to meet. I would like to introduce Teralynn. Say hello, Teralynn.
Hello, it's Teralynn. I am the first guest. Honored.
It's good to have you. We are gonna do a little chat with Teralynn. You're gonna find out a little bit about how she got into the game and her favorite hero, and then we're gonna discuss that specific hero. I won't give it away. I'll let her get started. Teralynn, the floor is all yours.
Okay, well, I was tricked by Pierre, or other intimidator that's on this call, into playing the game. We played a lot of board games, and we've done that for a lot of years. One day I was at Haven, we were playing a board game that needed his phone to be charged, and it was dead. So in that time, he said, let's play this game I've learned instead. And I had a couple starter decks, and started playing, but I, do a lot of D&D and different board games and the like, and I always play Ranger when I play, so Azalea was the easy choice for me, but everybody has laughed at me since, so here we are, still rooting for Azalea and still getting absolutely shit on, so love that.
So you are playing somewhat of a fringe hero, and by
Correct.
that I mean she has currently no living legend points, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm
wins
wrong.
all that much better.
I
She
believe
might-
that's correct.
No, it's Levia has a few, but I believe she has none at the moment, the time of recording. Yeah, Teralynn, tell us a bit about, kind of your early struggle to get into that hero. And I mean, it's got to be difficult when everything's kind of pinned against you, but I don't know. Have you enjoyed playing Azalea?
Yes, because the wins are even better because everybody is very upset because it shouldn't win. And when it does, and when it works really well. It's just not consistent enough to win all the time. But I've been in top 4 a few times and bottom 4 a lot more times. But, is what it is. I wasn't switching into a meta like most of the people we know do. So I wanted to try to stick with one hero and make it work the best I can, trying different cards out, but I'm also not out here spending hundreds of dollars on legendary equipment and all of the M's and special cards I might need, so that is more of a struggle playing with a budget. So budget Azalea, yeah.
I definitely see what you're talking about with I think one thing like for myself with the game is since day one I've been playing Dorothea, and she has a little bit more living legend points than Azalea does, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But I think Dory got lots of traction early on, and as the game went on, she kind of fell behind a bit. However, what it comes down to is I think when you stick with one hero, even if it's not a great hero, you learn all your matchups and you learn what you need to do with that hero to beat each different hero. Like for example, Dory playing against Dromai, I know I need to sideboard in card X, Y, and Z, and I need to kill dragons, stock up on Dawnblade counters, and then start swinging at the face.
What about, so you mentioned you know what to do or how to build your hero in order to beat other opponents, but like what if the easy solution to that is just play Lexi? What made you choose to stick with Azalea even though Lexi has been proven to be kind of a
Even though
more...
there's a ranger that does ranger better. Why?
Yeah,
There you go.
Why
because
Azalea?
I don't have the money for the New Horizons, and I haven't pulled one.
Ooh.
Honestly, like if I pull that and it's something that I get, I'll probably try to pivot because I have a lot of the cards that will work. But also, we love Red in the Ledger, and you can't play that as Lexi. So fight me on that.
Yeah, so
Let's I think let's talk about her cards a little bit here.
yeah, I was gonna say like kudos to Teralynn because like let's just quickly talk about your equipment suite. Like what do you run? Because I know it's not crazy.
No, yeah, it's a budget one. I think I've got the Purge Grapplers, and I think we're still running. We're trying out the new Dynasty stuff, and I still haven't decided if the Scan Scour and the what's the new arms called?
Great bow. There's the Hornet Sting.
So I've been trying those. When they work, they work. When they don't, they don't. But it's still a shield. But the AB on the Force bracers. Oh no, what? Now I'm the Azalea player, and now I can't remember what the equipment's called. Bullseye bracers. Those ones have an AB on them, which does help the wizard matchups. But then I think if somebody lets me borrow a Findles, I run a Findles. If not, I run the best of the first fist because that's what I've got. Recently, off somebody from the store, I bought the headpiece, cross wrap. But other than that, I was running Talismanic Lens for a long time, and that's what we're running. Death Dealer was the build that I probably had a little bit more success with, but I'm still trying to see if I can get the new bow to work.
I mean, for our listeners, that is pretty impressive. Hitting top 4 with, 16-ish people armories and not running, even Findles, which is
And
kind of
especially for the most part, I find locally, most people's decks are really fine tuned. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't think many people, besides like really new guys, aren't really running budget stuff. Like, they have their decks are decked out to the nines. Like for myself, my Dorothea deck, and I've been playing Arachne lately. They literally cannot get any better. Like I literally have everything for them, and I definitely think props to you,
yeah.
Teralynn, for doing as well as you've done with not as good build as you could have.
Yeah, I'm missing even some regular cards too, like Art of War and those types. That would be good in the deck. I don't have any.
Yeah. You talked a bit about consistency, right? Like
Mhm.
that's one thing that you see a bit of a struggle for Azalea. If you were, say, a higher up in LSS and you were like given the power to print some new cards, what are some things that you think Azalea is lacking or something that could give her that edge that might, help her see a few living legend points?
Go again. Any
Go
more
again.
arrows with Go Again? Because right now there's like Sick'em Shot's the only arrow with built-in Go Again. Everything else is you could try to buff. The rainbow that I run. Oh no, Bolt and Shot, and that'll have Go Again, but without the reload, it doesn't help either if they block it. But like running Endless doesn't make any sense because there's no Go Again on it. So for a while, my deck was buffed out with a lot of Captain's Calls and cards that would give your attack Go Again or Razor
Yeah,
Reflex.
that's kind of a problem for Azalea, right? Like she's got these amazing on-hit effects, but they're just not keeping up with the pace of the game when you're only able to do one of those and it pushes, say, 10 damage dominated, so you're getting almost guaranteed 7 unless they've got a D react, but it's just not enough, right? Like
Yeah.
the fact that, Lexi can do the same thing with some pretty decent on-hit effects, but then she can pump out like 3 or 4 arrows a turn.
What I really think Azalea has going for her is she literally has the best specialization, and I'd argue the best attack in the game, which is Red in the Ledger. Um, Actually, here's the thing. Red in the Ledger is only good with her just because she has easy access to relatively easy access to dominate. If it wasn't a dominate attack, you would like just always block it out. But the fact that she can dominate it relatively easily, the on-hit effect is just crazy. Especially in, I feel like right now, at least locally, and I guess meta worldwide, it is kind of a aggro meta. You know, you're seeing like Fi and like Briar and stuff like that. Limiting to one action per turn is absolutely insane. And it's a super good card. And I think with like a little bit of tech, Azalea could go crazy. What does she need? I don't know. But I feel like there's a little something that that could really get her to pop off. What I thought, I really thought like the Sandscour bow would do a bit more, but it hasn't seemed to make a huge impact, in my opinion. What they
No,
need
the
to
problem with
do,
that one is
yeah, go
the
ahead.
aim
Yep,
counters, right? Like there's not
yep,
enough new arrows yet where aim counters matter, so you're running
sure,
a deck of half regular arrows and half aim counters. It's not consistent enough to get an aim counter on it at all.
yep,
So it only comes out of the deck, not out of your hand. So unless you're running like 9 Memorial Grounds, then you're always stacking it onto the deck, but then it's
yep.
not dominated. You gotta let something from hand. and then use her ability. Like it's not consistent enough. A lot of times I would have had a really good turn, but I couldn't get the aim counter on, so it wasn't like.
I think going forward, we're gonna see, I think, lots of arrows with aim counters. I think it's kind of just a kind of a fix moving forward. But yeah, definitely right now it's not super used. What I really think would make Azalea super good is a bow where you pay one or whatever, and it says like load an arrow. And then you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck, strictly because then like there's no more guessing games or anything. Like you literally like you know exactly what's on top, so you can slap a bow, an arrow into arsenal, put Teralynn Ledger on top, and then you use Azalea's ability with no risk, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so you're basically doing what Memorial Ground does, but instead of pulling it from the graveyard, you're putting it there
Yeah.
from your hand.
Yeah,
It's one
and
less
you
card
can
you have
do
to
it
run.
every turn. Exactly. That's an issue kind of with Memorial Ground, is that's like just if you Azalea off the top blind, which you shouldn't do, but let's say you did into a Memorial Ground, well, that's great. Now you have non-arrow arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So
The Hail Mary Azalea is a move I've been guilty of a few times, and it works. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Hail Mary's a
Dude,
rough move.
imagine this though: a Shadow Ranger that has arrows in the banish zone somehow, and they can pull those arrows into
that'd
their
be pretty
arsenal.
sick.
That'd be
That would
cool.
be sick.
Yeah. And the Arachne matchup too, because all he does is banishes all my good
Honestly.
arrows.
Yeah.
Thanks for the quiver there that you just gave me into my arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Azalea is very interesting because like I think literally just a little push and she could become really good. But I think eventually, like, it is crazy how much of a fan base Azalea has. Like there's people who are trying so freaking hard to make it work. Like Teralynn, for example. Like, yeah, like I think it's crazy, and I think at some point it has to pay off. I think some of the on-hit effects are really good, but I don't know. I don't know what it takes.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
I clearly don't.
I wonder if you could have like an equipment that is a quiver, and maybe it allows you to start with, say, one arrow in your quiver, and
Interesting.
then kind of like the same concept as Storm Striders for Wizard. It's kind of like a fail safe mechanic
Mm.
where it's like maybe I start with my endless arrow in there, and then once per game I can pull it out of there, and it wouldn't be like a free card, but it could be like once per game instead of. Maybe that's what it is. Once per game, you just stick it on the top of your deck. So like,
That's cool.
if you want to, set up your whatever it is, your combo, your dominated arrow,
Yep.
and you've already like paid into a bunch of stuff, you're like, if this is gonna be not an arrow, then I'm wasting my entire turn. Then you just take your quiver arrow, put it there, and then destroy the quiver or whatever.
That's an interesting idea. And I think you could do to call it, like, maybe you could make it, I don't know, like a chess piece or something, or make it an
Mhm.
item. And it has it's kind of like Dash, where you start the game with it like in play. It's
Oh,
like
maybe a new
during
ranger hero.
during setup, you can play this item in the arena, put one card from your deck under this, and then like as an action, pay one, put the arrow under this on top of your deck, go again, something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think that could be interesting.
My problem is trying to block. Like if people are going to hit me with something with an on-hit effect, that is going to shut down a turn. I
Yep.
don't have a lot of stuff that'll block. A lot of the actions that buff arrows are the only shield do. Sometimes I'll run a D-React. Depends on how I've got my deck built. Kind of been messing around with different builds. But,
Now,
the
what do you
strat
think
isn't really
of
play.
what do you think of the current bow options for Azalea? So you've got, Death Dealer, Redliner, Dreadbore, and now Sand Scour Great Bow, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I always ran Redliner just because the 0 cost to load was great, and I ran a really red deck when I started. But then with some more build, Kyle from the store, we have to give him a shout out. He's the other Azalea player. he's yelling at me, telling me I've got to use the Death Dealer just for the card draw to draw into a buff or to get something to your hand. So it was worth the pitch. Pitch a blue, and then you've got a pitch left to fire arrow or whatever. So Death Dealer was the main one I had been using into the Ticticon, like we did that matchup, and I've been using Death Dealer for a while, and then switched when Dynasty came out once I could get my hands on the new bow. That first game with that new bow is, I think, the one I made top 4 in. I don't know if I've had much success since, but I also haven't made it to very many events. I need some practice before ProQuest.
So for ProQuest, are you planning on Death Dealer or the bow or Great Bow?
Oh, that's a secret that you're gonna know. I don't
Whoa.
know. I don't know. Nobody's going to be surprised. The people that we know that I play her. So I don't know which bow. The problem with it is can't even sideboard between those two bows because the deck has to be built different to work with the aim counters. You can sideboard between Death Dealer and Dreadbore just for those matchups with a Guardian or somebody that's going to have a lot of D-reacts in their deck. Dreadbore, other than that, doesn't really have that great of an effect. It's just +1, but you're going to want to dominate something, so you're going to lose it anyway. I might switch back to Death Dealer. I've got to try to make it to a couple this month and try the Sand Scour a couple more times, because when it works, it really works. Pull Teralynn Ledger off 5 times in a row, dominated, combo with Seek and Destroy, and completely kill people's hands and arsenal. That's great, but then as soon as it shuts down, I'll usually lose. So
what do you think of other? Do you think there's any other like buffs you'd want to see that might put her over the edge a little bit? Because like Seek and Destroy is a really good one. What's the one from Dynasty?
Deadeye. It's
Okay,
great.
yeah,
You've got to pitch. If it was free, it would be great. And it also needs there to be an aim counter on the arrow. So again, it's hard to pull off. But I think that it's a great buff. But the 0 for 3 are usually the best buffs in my opinion. Or something that was maybe 0 for 3 and go again, or gives it go again, something like that would be nice. Or +3 and a reload if it hits, or something like that in a buff. But sometimes I've got to dominate 16 off just because of the 0 for 3, having something in arsenal already. But most of the time I can consistently put out 8 to 12 damage for an arrow a turn. But that's the problem, is it usually only once a turn. It's hard into matchups like Dromai or somebody that has lots of dragons, and it wastes a full turn to dominate 12 on an Ashwing. But if I need that to survive, that's kind of a waste. But it's hard into those matchups. So the generic, Seek Horizons and the Ravenous Rabble, and those ones are great for the opt. Hard on top, and it gets you a bit of an attack first that you could use on something like that. But it's not much either to pull into that and an arrow at the same time. That'll not be too expensive.
Yeah. A card that I don't see run in every single Azalea deck. It's kind of like every once in a while, but Poison the Tips. Do you run that card?
Yep, I do.
I feel like
I can't remember if I run 1 or 3 or how many. I think it kind of changes.
Yeah.
Poison the Tips I run more than Rapid Fire just because it forces him to discard a card.
Yeah, it's kind of like early Icelander things before those existed. Like, kind of a similar effect. And then like Lexi has similar cards with her ice fuses too. That's like, if this hits, discard a card or pay 1 or something like that. Anyways, we are headed into ProQuest season and kind of January, whatever it is, January 4th. We kind of spoke about what our kind of, I don't want to say New Year's resolutions, but what are you looking forward to in Fab this year, Teralynn? Do you have any goals for yourself in terms of, I would like to achieve this, or I'll leave the floor open to you, but what are you looking forward to this year?
Well, lately I've been pretty much only coming to draft just to get the 3 times a week or twice a week that we had been going for a long time was getting to be a lot. So trying to draft, trying to branch out to different heroes, just to learn the playstyle and the pitch stacking a little more, mostly so that I know what to do on the matchups into those heroes. So there's a lot of heroes have never played or refused to play. Like I swear an oath to never deal arcane damage, and once I had to force Prism in a draft just to I pulled the Luminaris or something, and everybody told me I had to. So sometimes that'll happen, but just to see how those characters work, because usually if somebody doesn't read the card or if I don't look at it, I don't exactly know what every card does. I don't have it all memorized. I don't have half of my stuff memorized, so doing a little bit more draft just to learn the different heroes. I'll play Fi and Blitz. Got that set up just because the Azalea didn't really work that well in Blitz. I'd like to get to a top 2 as far as a goal. Like I've been top 4 a few times. I think I was 3rd last night in Blitz, but there was, in draft, but there was only 7 of us. And I don't even remember. Oh, I think I had to force Fi. I was trying to de-drill my, but it just didn't work out with the cards I was getting. Yeah, top 2 would be nice.
Not top 2. You got to win an event. Let's see it.
Winning overall feels like a lot. A lot of the games lately, I've won first pairing and then lost the next 2 and then won the last one. So like I'm trying to average 50-50 wins and losses a night. Like I'm trying to keep my lifetime games over. For a while, it was pretty much 1 win per event, but I think now I'm closer to 2 wins per event, which is not great considering some other guys have 4 or 5 wins an event. But yeah, undefeated in a night would be cool, or just first, but I don't know if that's going to happen with the current build. Probably not. We might need to see some new cards before it happens, or I get really lucky and play only new guys.
We'll see you in 2 weeks with your gold foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be epic. Yeah.
I never even won the shitty Christmas present. I had to get people to trade me for it, and it has Azalea on it. She's on the mat. She's on the merch for that, but I never even placed high enough in either of those nights to get that. So that was sad.
No, it's just slowly but surely. Like you keep playing, build up more knowledge of your hero, and just
Sometimes it's
math.
me.
Eventually, it's got to go well.
Yeah. Well, like if I trade decks, like I traded decks with Jesse once, because he'd beat me really bad with his Lexi and his Fi with my Azalea, and we traded, and I played his Fi. He beat me with my Azalea twice, and his Fi is
No.
very well built, and he had never played that deck, so he told me that day it was because I was not playing it properly. So, I'm trying to learn to play better too. If my deck works better for other people, that's probably an issue on my end, but yeah, sometimes it depends on the matchup and a little bit on the card draw, but yeah, it's a grind, but I'm still trying to get some sort of win just to make it the extra special that Azalea did that.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it comes down to sometimes, is just like the pure math, right? Like winning value on turn cycles and like, across a turn taking less damage than you output. But kind of knowing when is a safe or when's a smart time to take some damage in order to do more can be a risk that is difficult to calculate too. So definitely getting tons of reps with your hero that you choose to play the most, and kind of your more loyal, or the hero that you're most confident with. It takes a while to really get a feel for it. So yeah, that's sick that you're like committed to one hero. And
That's just me being stubborn. I don't know if it's good. I probably should have just switched into Fire. Tried to
I
buy the New
really
Horizons.
believe that sticking with one hero is just a really good way to do it. Just learn, especially because for myself personally, like I don't really have an interest in playing many other heroes, but even on top of it, I'm not smart enough to know different matchups. Like Max, for example, I'm pretty sure he has a deck for almost like every hero. That's great for him, but jack of all trades, master of none, right?
Yeah.
Kind of how I feel. So I feel, really stick with the one hero that works for you and just play the shit out of it, because one day they'll get living legend status. Some sooner than others, but one day you won't be able to play them anymore. So I say stick with it and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think my time to shine will be when the rest of the heroes get LL'd out, and then everybody's forced to play Azalea, and mine I already know how to do it.
There you go. Everyone will have to learn, and you'll be way ahead.
Laughing. I'll be selling all my stuff for quadruple what I had to pay for it. So
honestly,
then you can afford any deck you want to play.
Very good thinking.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do we have any closing comments before we wrap this one up here?
Anything you want to add in, Teralynn?
Should I come out here saying that Dominate's definitely better than Intimidate?
Whoa.
That's a topic for
That's a
another
topic for another
discussion.
podcast.
I don't know about that.
All right, guys.
Um,
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
It's been a
Teralynn.
pleasure
Thanks for
to
joining.
have you on the show. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one.
Thank you both. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.